So basically, today I will be going back on a particular column because I realized there was an error in a particular column. So I was looking at the data sets all over again, and I realized there must have been an error in absenteeism reason while we're trying to calculate or use DAX formulas on absenteeism reason. And someone actually brought it to my attention. Someone brought it to my attention. And so I will just touch that, then we'll go right ahead with what we're just meant to do today. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when we were putting a table for the absenteeism reason, this particular table here, unjustified leave was not there earlier. Okay, unjustified leave was not there. And I realized that was an error, which it raised an eyebrow on Monday, but I was not really paying attention to it. So I'll just go to the data pane and show you what I was able to do and the formula I was able to use. So, okay. So for the absenteeism reason, I used two formulas to calculate the absenteeism reason. That is the switch and the if all. Okay, the switch and the if all. So now if you see, all I just did here was because I realized there are some absenteeism codes that are just direct, like 0 and 26. They're direct. And they are direct, and all I could just do is I could use switch to achieve that. Okay. So what I did was to switch 0 for incomplete records. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot I was not sharing my screen here. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm sure you should be able to see my screen in a few minutes. So. Okay. So what I did was to switch 0. No, remember the switch stuff, just switching this for this and this for this. So okay, I'll give credit to who credit is due. Amulika, good morning. So I think let me be sure. Okay, you were the one that brought this to my attention, the absenteeism reason. Yeah, I think I saw your text yesterday and I decided to look at it. So I realized that what you said was actually true because I had to pay attention to what I was doing and I was able to make that correction. Okay, so for the absenteeism reason, there was an error in the DAX formula whereby there was actually no incomplete records. There was no provision for incomplete records. Okay, so what I did to fix that was to use switch and if all. All right, so I use switch for the direct numbers like 0 and 26. They are just switching this for this and this for this. So I said switch for every time you see 0, switch it to incomplete records. Every time you see 26, switch it to unjustified leave. Okay. Then I went ahead to now use the if all for the family related and medical reasons because they contain multiple conditions. Okay, so I said if the absenteeism reason is equal to 0 or less than 5, so which means less than 5 obviously is 4, 3, 2, 1, right? If it's equal to 1 or less than 5, let it be family related, but any other thing that is not 0, 26 or family related, let it be medical reasons. Okay, so to check if my formula was correct, I went to the reason for absence and I filtered it to 0 to check if a correction was made in regards to that. I filtered it to 0, and I found out that the absenteeism reason was now showing incomplete records. Okay, and also to check if family related was correct. Slow. To check if family related was correct, I can just filter this to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I can remove the 0 we have here. Okay. All right. Then I can just press OK. So that filters everything. Then I can see, check if family related is also correct. Okay. So we can see 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are all showing family related. So that means that's correct. I could go ahead to do that for unjustified leave and medical reasons, but obviously everything is correct. So I'll just unfilter this. So that was the correction I did. That was the correction I did to make amends for the error I did in absenteeism reason. So going to our visuals, if you've already done your visual, all you just need to do is adjust the DAX formula. The visual will automatically adjust. All right. So the visual adjusted, making room for incomplete record, which was actually 34. Family related is 20. Medical reasons is 555, which is reasonable. People fall sick all the time. People are obese, and we have some drunkards in the house. So also unjustified leave was 30. So the question 3 says, just, okay. Question 3 says, what for the month 0, what is the absenteeism reason for that month 0 that was reported 3 times? So I'll click on, knowing that month 0 was shown as winter. If you're not sure, you can just bring the month of absenteeism, month of absence, drag it to this filter. You can drag month of absence to this filter page here. Okay, that's one way to look at it. Then I just have to wait while they show that. Okay, that's one thing about recording and using Power BI. It makes your system slow. So I'll use basic filtering. What I'm trying to do is just bring out the month 0. Okay. So for basic filtering, it shows me all the months and numbers. Then all I just have to do is select only month 0. So that should show me the absenteeism reason and every other thing. I think it should show me first the season it belongs to. Oh, this is taking a lot of time. Okay. I can just select month 0. Then it adjusts everything for me. So I should see the seasons here and the reason for absenteeism should be the only thing left in this place. Let's just wait while that loads. That's okay, good. So we can see it in winter, right? Winter, and there is reported 3 times. We can see the reason for absenteeism, which is 3 incomplete records. Remember, we said it was family related before. So now we know that it's incomplete record, and it makes sense because what this means is that month 0, the person did not put the months, or the data entry clerk did not actually put the months, which means we can't even know the month which the person came late, which is incomplete. The record is actually incomplete. Okay, so it only makes sense that the reason for absenteeism is incomplete records, right? So I'm going to unselect this and cancel this filter here. Okay, so So that makes amend for the error we made in the last session. All right, then so we can go to question 5. And if you look at it, I changed my look. It's no more black bars, it's now gold bars. Yeah. I just wanted to remind myself that I love gold bars. Okay, so number 5 is which code was the highest reported reason for family-related absenteeism? And how many were logged for this code? Okay, so which code was the highest reported reason for family related absenteeism, and how many were logged for this code? Okay, this one is kind of tricky. So what we want to do is we are going to use a table to showcase this one. So we'll just click on the table stuff. I want to see everything like rows and columns. Okay. Then we want to drag absenteeism reason as a column, and we are going to leave it as a categorical variable. It shows us how the absenteeism reason. Then we also want to drag let's see what was going to drag. We want to drag the reason, okay, absenteeism, let's see, reason for absence. We want to drag it, and we want it to be, okay, hope what I'm doing is correct. Okay, let's see. I'm going to use do not summarize. Okay. Then I'm going to cancel absenteeism reason. I'm just waiting for my laptop to come along with me. So what I want to do is, okay, wonderful. This is what I'm looking for. So I want to cancel this absenteeism reason that I kept as a categorical variable. What I want to use instead is a slicer. So I can just easily select family related, or I could click on this table here to select family related. It's what just depending on what I want to use for my slicer. But I'll use a slicer instead, okay, just to make it good. So I'm going to click on a slicer. So what this slicer does is that I can filter any information from the slicer using the slicer. Okay, then good. What I want to do now is drag absenteeism reason as a field. Then it should show me the list of all the absenteeism reason we have. Okay, then good. I will then go ahead to click on family related. Now note, I could do this from the table. Once I click on family related here, it shows me everything I need to know. But instead, I want to show you how to use a slicer and why we use a slicer. By default, a slicer is used to filter. Okay, maybe you want to check information for people in a particular city. You can just bring all the cities on a slicer. Okay, use it as a checkbox like this, then click on a particular city or section or category you want to view information from. If you are doing visualization for products, right? Then let's see. So I want to, okay, the next thing I want to do is I'll click on the recent table we just made, and I'm going to I'm going to do absenteeism reason should be showing us some. Okay. Why is this not canceling? Why is this not canceling? Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to bring the sum for all these numbers, the amount of times they were reported. Okay. So I'm going to cancel this absenteeism reason. I obviously don't need it at the point. I'm going to drag my reason for absence again Okay, I'm going to drag it again and I'm going to put it under the first reason for absence. So what I want to do is, instead of leaving it as a categorical variable, what I want to do is I want to put it as sum now. That's total amount that were reported for this particular code. So I want to find out total amount that were reported for code 0, for code 1, for code 2, and so on and so forth. Right. Then okay, let me see. Waiting for my laptop to load again. So okay, so this is what I'm looking for now. But I want to make this bigger so people can see it. So you can all see it. Okay. Please give me a moment while I increase the font size so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, then I'll just go to the format of visual values. Let's see. Okay, so this should increase. I hope you guys can all see the numbers. I want the numbers to be visible, so I'll try and make this bold also. Okay. So doing it like this, what I've done is I've been able to see amount of times a particular code was logged. Okay, amount of times a particular code was logged. Then for me to check for family related, all I just have to do is click on family related. The slides are here, but let me drag this down so we can see it up to the end. Wow, this is still loading. Okay. Okay, good. So I'll just click on family related here. Then that filters it to just 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, but from what we can see here, we can see that number 1 is actually the highest, 16. Showing as 16, number 2 is showing as 2, 3 is showing as 3, 4 is showing as 8, which means people use code 4 8 times, people use code 1 16 times. Okay, then yeah, let's see. Okay. I'm just waiting for this to load. This is taking time to do. Okay, well, that answers question number 5. That's just okay, good. So okay, I think we are having an issue here. It's not really consistent with what we are expecting to get. Because in the total, I was expecting to get 20, not 29. Okay, 20 and not 29. So I just want to look at it one more time. Let me see what I did. Okay. My laptop is really slow today. Laptop is really slow today. Um, okay. So the idea, what I was basically trying to do was to use reason for absence, the codes, okay, the code for reason for absence. Each category of that reason for absence has a code, right? So we want to find out how many absenteeism or how many reports were made using a particular code, right? So the logical sense is to bring in the codes, all the codes we have, and then, okay, now I guess I'm going to use count, sorry, not sum. I'm meant to use count, not sum. I think that's why I'm getting that error. So I have to change this to count. Yeah. I have to change this to count. So I think count should actually make amends for the error we are getting. So what sum does is that sum sums out the number 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. But counts amount of time a particular code was used. So it goes and look for 1. How many times did people use 1? It counts the number of times that 1 was used. Right? Then it repeats the same thing for 2, repeats the same thing for 3, and repeats the same thing for 4. So using sum, I think this should solve whatever issue we're having here. So this should change to, let's say, 20. The total should be 20 now. Then maybe 1 might still remain the highest. Okay, we just have to wait for this to load. But please, while this is loading, if you have any question concerning the DAX formula I made amends to, please let me know so I can explain again why this is loading or anything we've done so far. Okay, Bumi, go ahead. Bumi, go ahead. Okay, Oluchi, please go ahead with your question.
I think, Bumi, if you can hear, you are not very clear. I think you are, I can hear, can you hear me? Can you hear me? But you're not very clear. So, Daniel.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is related absenteeism. How many were lost for this code? So I'm trying to see, let's assume that the person you are presenting this to does not know that code 1 belongs to either family related or code 2 belongs to, does not know the person. What I have here is for absence. I'm thinking that the reasons written out in the way we have spelled it, family related, should be in front of it so that we're able to pick out the one that's family related. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah. You can actually use the absenteeism reason, the category. Remember the first time when I was doing this, okay, let me just do it to make it make sense. So you can use that to put the category in front of every code, right? I did that before, but I decided to remove it because I'm doing it for you guys, not for the board yet. So let's just let me see. So what I want to do now is I want to put absenteeism reason, that is that categorical value, absenteeism reason, as the first column. Okay, so that now it should be showing family related by the left hand side. Should be showing family related. Okay, so that's how you can actually, okay, just something like this. I hope it's clear, it's visible for you. Okay, yeah. Is this what you're asking?
Yeah.
Good.
Then I was also going to say, how do you reduce this? Because how do you reduce this only for you? There was a lot before, but I just said exactly what it is. And I'm not sure I thought that.
Okay, I just clicked on family related.
Oh, okay, you were using the slide down.
Yes, I was using the slide. So clicking on the slider, it reduces that stuff to the information you need. Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to take this all the way down. Okay. I'm going to take this all the way down and I'll leave it like this. Then for the slider, I want to just reduce it. It's not much. So I don't want it to occupy so much unnecessary space. Okay. Then while I'm leaving this space at the top is because I want that to be where we put the heading of what they call it, of the visual we're trying to make, maybe human resources for whatever company it is you're doing it for, human resource analytics for whatever company it is you're doing it for. Okay. Then yep, I think that's that. So I'm going to leave it like this so that I don't have to increase it to occupy a lot of space. I'm trying to manage my dashboard. All right, so this is basically what how to answer question 5. Like I said, if you don't want to use this slicer, you can just click on the table. It gives you the same result. Okay, you can click on the table, gives you the same result. But why I'm using a slicer just to show you how you can get it done. Okay, then during the presentations, I would want you guys to try out something, which is the hit target should be in a slicer, not this kind of slicer. It should be in I don't want to show you guys. I want you guys to figure it out yourself. It should be in like in between slicer. You have to find it out in between slicer. Try and mess around with the visual. This is a drop down slicer. There are different types of slicer, but they are all, you have to use the slicer button. Now to change it to the different type of slicer, you can check other types of slicer using this arrow button just by the top of the slicer here. Now it will tell you select type of slicer. There's list drop down. Why is showing me list and drop downs? Because for this visual, for this categorical variable, I can only use a list or a drop down. But what I'm using currently is called a drop down type of slicer. But if you are doing for hit targets and you are maybe doing for service time, you can use something like an in-between slicer. The option will come out, an in-between slicer, because automatically Power BI understands that you're trying to do an in-between slicer. You can use an in-between slicer for that particular column. Then what I also want you to look at is reason for absenteeism. Okay. Reason for absenteeism should be in a card. And you should use count. Let's see. Is it count? Yeah, you should do counts. Count. So count tells you the amount of times absenteeism were actually logged, which we know that is 639 times. Okay. So you should use a card. Then all the cards, you can put all the cards at the top or by the side. Let them be aligned. Don't let them be scattered. You can put them at the side. It makes sense. Then you can put the slicers at the top or put the cards at the top. Then the slicer should be by this side. Okay, by the left-hand side. All right, the next thing I also want you to look at is ID. Now, the ID you'll be using is employee info, the ID from employee info. Please don't use the ID for absenteeism. The ID for absenteeism will tell you the amount of people that logged that were actually absent. Now, what if an employee was not absent? Does it mean that the employee is not part of the staff of the company? So to find out the number of employees we have, you should use employee info. Use that as a card. Use count distance. That should show you 37. Okay, that should show you 37 employees. Then the other thing you should do is disciplinary status. So we have yes and no. That should be in a slicer and it should be in a drop-down slicer. Okay, sorry, it should be in a list slicer. It should be in a list slicer since they are just two. It should be in a list slicer. Then the next thing you can do is let's see. I'm trying to look at. You can use weekday. Yeah, day of the week. You can put that as maybe a drop down or a list slicer depending on what you want to do because it contains Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days. So I don't know how big your dashboard will be. Okay, I don't know how big your dashboard will be, but you can use a drop down slider to minimize space, right? Then okay, what else again? All right, I think that's all you can do with card and sliders. So I want it to be organized, which means if you're using sliders, let your sliders be either at the extreme end or at the top so that it's easy for one to use them. Then what else? Okay, I would just take another question. How many employees were classified as overweight and obese? Okay, how many employees were classified as overweight and obese? So for us to deal with this one, we have to use a slicer. Sorry, a card. We have to use a card because we want to find out the total amount of employees we have first. Okay, that's the idea. I want to find out the total amount of employees we have, and that is I'm going to use employee info since we already made a link between the IDs, ID column and the ID column in employees info and ID column in absenteeism. So I'll just drag the ID here to this card. That should show me 37. Good. So the next thing I want to do now is, okay, this card is too big. Okay, I want to minimize that. Yeah. So I'll just drag that here. Please don't mind my alignment. I'm just doing this to manage space. Okay. Then good. So the next thing I want to do now is to bring the BMI status we have. Health status, right? Is it health status? Oh, okay. Now I did not save mine. So I can't actually do it here. Okay, what I want you to do for this is because I realized I did not save mine, I restarted my laptop. All right, so what I want to do here is after putting this count of ID, I want you to create another slicer, just like we did for this absenteeism reason, for the health status. Okay. Then once you've done that done the slicer for the health status, I want you to go to this format slicer, this button here. Then click on it, and there's something I want you to now do. Go to slicer settings, okay, and go to selection. Then make sure that your show select all is available. And make sure that also your multi-select is also available, is turned on. Why we want it turned on is because when we are selecting the health status, we are selecting obese and overweight. Okay, so when you select both of them, the count of ID should change. The count of ID should change. It's telling you how many employees will actually have their health status as obese and overweight. Okay, so Okay, Bumi, go ahead with your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can try. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's why we're using card at this point.
Why are we using?
Card at this point.
Okay, CAD is simply to give a numerical summary of something. And we have a lot of things to give numerical summaries for. Example, we could give numerical summary for absenteeism reason as 4. We could give numerical summary for count of absenteeism reports, which is 639. It is very important actually. Then we could give summary for count of employees, which is 37. Because what if they don't, maybe the management don't bring up the question, how many employees do we have right now? But your card automatically shows them that, see, we have 37 employees currently standing in the company. And out of these 37 employees, all of them were reported absent 639 times in 1 year. So that's the importance of cards. Cards give you a numerical summary. So that's why no matter the visual you're doing, no matter the project you're doing, you should use cards. It's actually the first thing I do whenever I'm doing a project. I just use cards to remind myself that this is the amount this is at the moment. Okay, so cards are pretty important.
So then another thing I was trying to ask, how did you know when to mix the switch and the key function together for your what do they think about things together I guess?
Okay, remember I said when you have direct changes you could make, like changing 0 for a particular name, changing this for a particular name, you can use switch. Okay, so I realized that using the if or gave me the error, which Anulika kind of brought my attention to. Okay, not even kind of, she brought my attention to it. So I realized that why not I just use switch for the ones that are direct and use if or for the ones that are more complicated. Okay, so that was how I came up with switch, because 0 and 26 are more direct. Okay. So anytime you're working on a project and there are some stuff that are direct, just use switch. It does the job for you. But if it's not direct, if it contains multiple conditions, then if is the best option for you. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, we can mix it together in one equation. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
yes,
now.
yes, you can. Okay.
But
to make it easy for you, make sure that the switch comes first. So you are done with that one and finalize with the if. Right. So the next question that came up was, which employee matches the following criteria: overweight, social drinker, and social smoker? Now, remember here, by this time, we've already made another slicer for health status, right? Now, the next slicer we're going to make is social drinker. That one should be a list type of slicer. Then social smoker should also be a list type of slicer. So what you're going to do here is you are going to make a table like this, then put down all the IDs we have. Drag the ID column as a field in the table you're creating. Okay. Then after you've done that, it should show you one ID number 1 to 37. All right. Then the next thing you want to do is to answer the question. Okay. To answer the question, they said, which employee matches the following criteria? Overweight, not obese. It has to be overweight, social drinker, and social smoker. You just go to the slicers, select overweight, go to the smoke slicer, select smoker, and go to drink slicer, select drinker. Then Power BI should load that up. And the employee that meets that criteria should be showing in that table that you created using the ID. I hope that makes sense. So the employee that meets that criteria, if it's more than one, fine. If it's one employee that meets the criteria, the employee's ID should be showing on the table. I think it should be employee number 27 or something like that. It meets that criteria. So you have to select it on every slicer you created. Okay, but make sure that family related is not selected. So you have to unselect any slicer that is not relating to the question you're trying to work with. Okay, so make sure that family related is not selected. That is, this absenteeism reason is not selected. Okay, that's why I'm on selecting it here. So you would understand. You would understand what I'm saying. Make sure that it's not selected. All right, so this question says which employee matches the following criteria? Overweight, the person smokes, and the person drinks. Now we've done a slicer for health status, which I can't do here because I don't have the field currently. We have a slicer. Let's assume this is a slicer for, let's assume absenteeism reason is a slicer for health status, right? Next thing we're going to do is, let me make another slicer. Next thing we're going to do is, we're going to make a slicer again, but this time around, the slicer we're going to make will be for drinker status. Okay, so let's do a slicer for drinker status. Which should be this. Okay, which should be this. So we'll make another slicer for drinker status showing us yes or no. Then we'll go ahead to make another slicer for smoker status, which is also yes or no. Okay, drinker and non-drinker, sorry. Okay, then I'll just minimize this to work with space. Then I'm going to do another slicer again. This one would be for smoker status. Okay, then I will just drag smoker status here. Okay, I'll just drag smoker status here. So what I want to just do is, they said I should look for the employee that matches that criteria. So the remaining thing that's left for me to do is to make a table. Make a table with the IDs of the employees. Make a table with the IDs of the employees. So which is what I want to do now. Then I'm going to drag this here. Okay, drag this to the end. Since we have 37 employees, assuming we have their names, it will be wonderful. But let's stick with what we have. So I want to drag the ID column to the table we just created. Okay. Okay. I want to drag the ID column to the table we just created. So that should show me the list of all the employee IDs we have. Right. Now, the only thing that is missing, is the health status, which I don't have here. But we're just going to do with drinker status and smoker status. So you see what I'm talking about. So this should show me the list of all the employees, the list of all the IDs for the employees we have. Right. So you can see it here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, and down to 87. Now, what I just want to do is I will select drinker, which means the person drinks. If I select drinker, the ID of the employees will change. They will actually reduce because not all of them are drinkers. So the ID should actually reduce, let's say by half or so. Then the next thing I'll also select is smoker. Okay, I'll select smoker, and this smoker means The people I'm selecting are people that they drink and smoke, not drink or smoke, which means they drink and smoke. If I'm selecting only drinker, it means the person drinks or the person smokes. And in our what we're looking at is just telling us that the person drinks. So what we can see here is almost all the employees, more than half of the employees are drinkers. But now to know how many of them are drinkers and smokers, we'll also click on smokers. So clicking on smoker, this should reduce by a very good amount, maybe by half. Okay, so we'll just wait to see what that shows us. Good. Showing us 7 employee ID number 7, 16, 26, and 31. Right. Now the remaining thing we have to do is use the health status as a filter. But I don't have it yet. So that's why I can do it. So use the health status as a filter. Then we'll now select for in that health status filter. Remember I told you how to make it multi-select. Then we'll now select overweight and obese. When we select overweight and obese, sorry, when we select overweight, not overweight and obese, overweight, just overweight. When we select overweight, it should now show us a person that is overweight, a drinker, and a smoker. And I think that should be employee number 26. So the person is both overweight, a drinker, and a smoker, right? So the person meets those 3 criteria. So this should now reduce to just 1 employee. Okay, this should be just 1 employee, I'm sure of that. Okay, that should be employee ID number 26, right? So that is how to go with question number 7. I hope that makes sense now.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay. So the question 8 is how many times did the employee from question 7 report absenteeism and what are the reasons? Now this one is just straightforward, right? Let's say we are selecting employee number 26. Let's click on 26. Now, let's assume the person is number 26, employee number 26. They're now asking us how many times did the person let's see. How many times did the person report absenteeism and what is the reason for that report? So let's see. To know the number of times the person reported absenteeism. Okay, we'll just wait for this absenteeism table to load. Because from what I can see here from the absenteeism reason by season, this should reduce. So still loading kind of, I guess. But the visuals you currently have should make it straightforward for you. You should actually answer the questions as you're clicking on them. Okay, so okay, the table we have here for absenteeism has reduced. So we can say that it's medical reasons, just 5 times. Medical reasons, from what we can see here. So it has the visuals have changed because I selected 26. Medical reasons showing 5. But please, if the person that smokes, drinks, and is overweight is not 26, you have to select that employee, okay, to get your own. But if it's 26, then the reason for absenteeism is 5, and the amount of times the person was absent is 5 times. Okay, it could be Monday to Friday because of medical issues. All right. So I hope that answers question number 8. Then number 9, what percentage of absentees? What percentage of absences reported from the employee in question number 7 were in summer? We could just calculate this with our head. That's 2 over 3 times, I think, Okay, 3 over 5 times 100. Right, 3 over 5 times 100. That's 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 over 5 times 100, which is 60%. But we can use a pie chart to do this. Okay, I want you to figure that out. We can use a pie chart to do this. It's very easy. Or we can even use a bar chart to just put the percentage on top, showing you numbers and the percentages. But pie chart will be better. So use a pie chart to do it. Okay, and I want to see what you come up with. But the answer should be 60% because 3 over 5. To find the percentage of absenteeism for this employee that will just finish checking, to find the percentage of his absenteeism or his absence that was in summer. And we know spring is 2, summer is 5, summer is 3. Now, using simple mathematics with my head, to get that percentage is 2 plus 3 is 5, right? 3 over 5 times 100 will be 60%. But a pie chart would get this for you straightforward. You don't need to do calculations. The pie chart will give you this figure. You don't have to figure out, just by the time you've done absenteeism reports by employees using a pie chart and you filter it to 26, by summer, and you filter it to 26, it should give you the percentage. So what you have to do in the pie chart is drag seasons to the pie chart and also drag absenteeism reason. Put the absenteeism reason in the values, put the seasons in the legend. Absenteeism reason should be in counts. Okay. Absenteeism reason should be in counts. Then put season in values. That should show you what you will need to see on the pie chart. Then if you filter to the employee, which is employee number 26, it should give you the percentage the person was absent in spring and in summer automatically. Okay, that's how to go about that. Okay, then, okay, every other one is just referencing all what I've explained so far. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys to try it out yourself, but please, if you're confused about my explanations, come back and rewatch this video. Okay, it should help you. I don't want to do the work for you guys. I want you guys to try it out. Then I'm going to do mine, and I'm going to show you what I've done, and you can compare. I'll share my Power BI file to you, and you can compare what I've done to what you've done. Okay, so please, if you have any question, please go ahead and ask your question. Please, do we have any question on what I've discussed so far? All right then. So I'll just take it that nobody has a question on what we've done so far. So for those of us that are just joining, actually our session is ending because I need to go for some stops. But all I've done so far is to explain how you need to do your visuals. Okay, so rewatch the video. Everything you need to know on how to do your visuals, I've explained it on this particular session. Okay, so I think I stopped at question 8, and that is I think that's a question that is more tricky, I guess. Okay, yeah. So from question 5 to question 9, yeah, from question 5 to question 9 was kind of tricky when it comes to making your visual. So if you're able to do that, question 5 up to question 9, every other thing should just be, you should use the idea of how you're able to achieve that question 5 to number 9 and use that to make your other visuals. It's not difficult. It's just that you have to keep probably making new sliders and making new pie charts, just that. But every other thing is already in place. Okay, so what we did was the background, all you need at the background stage of this particular project. So forms for presentation will be shared today. Okay, I'll be ending the recording now. So forms for